If you're over 60 and trying to eat healthy, chances are someone has told you, eat more fish, it's good for your heart. And they're right, to a degree. But what if I told you that some of the fish you've been putting on your plate, thinking they're helping your heart, might actually be hurting your brain, your joints, or even your memory? This isn't fear-mongering. This is science. And as someone who spent over 3 decades helping older adults navigate nutrition, brain fog, cholesterol, and chronic inflammation, I can tell you that not all fish are created equal. Some are rich in omega-3s, healing fats that calm inflammation, sharpen cognition, and support heart rhythm. Others, they're loaded with mercury, synthetic dyes, and inflammatory fats that silently wear down the very systems you're trying to protect. The truth is, what's hiding in your freezer or served to you at a well-meaning family dinner might be quietly accelerating the aging process. And the most dangerous part? These foods don't cause immediate pain. They work slowly, silently, and by the time symptoms like memory lapses, joint stiffness, or heart palpitations arise, most people chalk it up to just getting older. That's why I'm making this video. Because with just a little awareness, you can make smarter fish choices that actively protect your health instead of sabotaging it. Today, I'll show you exactly which 4 fish you should be eating every week to support your brain, bones, and circulation, and the 4 types you should avoid at all costs, especially if you want to age with clarity and strength. Now, before we dive into the list, I want to make something clear. This isn't about fear. It's about precision. It's about helping you and your loved ones make small, smart shifts that lead to enormous long-term benefits. Let's start with the first one. A fish so powerful I call it nature's blood thinner. It's anti-inflammatory, anti-aging, and brain protective all in one. Let's move to number 1. Wild-caught salmon. When most people think of healthy fish, salmon usually tops the list. But let's be more specific, because not all salmon is created equal. Wild-caught salmon, particularly from cold waters like Alaska, is one of the most potent whole foods you can eat after age 60. It's incredibly rich in omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA. These are the very fats your brain needs to stay sharp, your arteries need to stay flexible, and your joints need to stay mobile. Multiple studies, including one from the journal Neurology, have shown that adults who consume salmon 2 to 3 times per week have a significantly lower risk of cognitive decline, dementia, and depression. And this isn't just about brain health. Salmon also provides astaxanthin, a powerful antioxidant that gives the fish its rich orange-pink color. Astaxanthin has been shown to support eye health, reduce oxidative stress, and may even help maintain healthy skin elasticity as you age. I once had a patient named Ruth, a 68-year-old retired teacher, who came to me with complaints of fatigue and memory fog. She was eating a lot of frozen dinners and processed meats. We made one simple switch. We added 2 servings of baked wild-caught salmon to her weekly routine, one for lunch, one for dinner. Within 6 weeks, not only did her cholesterol improve, but she also reported better mental clarity and less joint pain. Now here's the key. Not just any salmon will do. Farmed salmon, especially the cheap, artificially colored kind, is a completely different story, which we'll get to later. But when you choose wild-caught, especially sockeye or Alaskan varieties, you're giving your body what it truly needs: clean fuel for aging with grace. And it couldn't be easier to prepare. Brush with olive oil, sprinkle with garlic and lemon, bake it at 375 degrees for 12 to 15 minutes, and serve with steamed greens or quinoa. That's a heart-healing, brain-fueling meal in under 20 minutes. Let's move to number 2. Sardines. I know what you might be thinking. Sardines? Aren't those the tiny, smelly fish in tins that people either love or can't stand? But don't let their humble appearance fool you. These small fish are nutritional giants. In fact, for seniors, they're one of the most underappreciated superfoods on the planet. Sardines are packed with omega-3s, calcium, vitamin D, and an often overlooked nutrient that's absolutely critical for brain and nerve health: vitamin B12. And here's why that matters. As we age, our ability to absorb B12 from food decreases. Many people over 60 walk around with mild to moderate B12 deficiencies without realizing it. The symptoms, fatigue, confusion, memory lapses, tingling in the hands or feet, are often misattributed to normal aging, but they can actually be early warning signs of something that's fixable. A single can of wild-caught sardines in olive oil contains more than 100% of your daily B12 needs. That's powerful. And because sardines are small, short-lived fish, they don't accumulate heavy metals like mercury the way larger predator fish do. They're safe, clean, and affordable. But the benefits go beyond B12. Sardines also contain natural calcium from their soft, edible bones, a major plus for those concerned about osteoporosis or bone loss. And unlike dairy, which some seniors have trouble digesting, sardines offer this calcium in a form that's easily absorbed and paired naturally with vitamin D and phosphorus, two other nutrients critical for maintaining bone density. There's also something very practical about sardines. They're shelf-stable, inexpensive, and don't require cooking. You can toss them on a salad, mash them into a spread with mustard and herbs, or eat them right out of the can with whole grain crackers. For seniors who may live alone, travel often, or just want quick meals without fuss, sardines are a go-to option that delivers high-impact nutrition with minimal effort. I once had a patient named Luis, a widower in his mid-70s. He told me he often skipped meals because he didn't feel like cooking. His energy was low, and his blood pressure was creeping up. We added a simple routine, sardines twice a week, with a side of leafy greens and olive oil. He didn't have to turn on the stove, he didn't have to go shopping daily, and within a month he said he felt more stable, clearer in the head, and even more optimistic. That's the power of proper nutrition made accessible. Let's move to number 3. Herring. Now, herring doesn't get the spotlight like salmon does. It's not trendy, it's not flashy, but nutritionally, it's exceptional, especially for seniors looking to support brain function, cardiovascular health, and even immune resilience. Herring, like sardines, is a small, oily fish that's naturally high in omega-3 fatty acids, including DHA and EPA. It also contains a notable amount of vitamin D, which is essential for bone health, immune function, and even mood regulation. As we get older, our skin becomes less efficient at synthesizing vitamin D from sunlight, which is why deficiency is so common in the elderly. Just one serving of herring can help close that gap. Herring also contains selenium, a trace mineral that plays a critical role in antioxidant defense, thyroid function, and DNA repair. Seniors who don't get enough selenium may experience increased inflammation, fatigue, and even poor wound healing. Getting this from food, rather than relying solely on supplements, is a far more effective and balanced approach. You can find herring in different forms: pickled, smoked, or fresh. If you're sensitive to salt, look for lightly pickled varieties with no added sugars or artificial preservatives. If you enjoy bold flavors, try herring with dill or mustard sauce. And if you prefer a more neutral taste, grilled or baked herring is tender, mild, and easy to digest. A patient of mine, Elsa, age 80, grew up in Scandinavia, where herring was a staple. After moving to the US, she'd stopped eating it, thinking it was old-fashioned. But when her vitamin D levels dropped and her balance became an issue, we revisited her traditional diet. She started adding herring back into her routine twice a week. Not only did her labs improve, but she said something else. She felt more connected to her roots, more vibrant, more whole. Food can heal not just the body, but the spirit. Let's move to number 4. Rainbow trout. This fish is a gentle giant when it comes to senior nutrition. Rainbow trout is one of the mildest, easiest to digest fish available. It's low in mercury, high in lean protein, and rich in the same brain-protective omega-3s found in salmon and sardines. But what makes trout unique is its accessibility and its suitability for those with sensitive digestion or dental concerns. Trout is often farmed in clean, freshwater environments with strict regulation. When you buy U.S. farmed rainbow trout, you're getting a fish that's safe, sustainably raised, and full of nutrients that support strong muscles, healthy arteries, and balanced blood sugar. It also contains selenium, potassium, and B vitamins. And because its flesh is soft and flaky, it's ideal for seniors who may have difficulty chewing or digesting tougher meats. I had a patient named George who had survived a stroke in his early 70s. He was looking for a way to protect his brain health while staying away from tough, hard-to-chew foods. We introduced him to rainbow trout, gently poached with herbs and lemon. It became his favorite meal. His blood pressure stabilized, his energy improved, and he told me he no longer dreaded dinner time. These four fish, wild-caught salmon, sardines, herring, and rainbow trout, are more than safe. They're functional medicine in food form. They nourish the aging brain, protect the heart, and support the bones, joints, and immune system. And they do it gently, naturally, and deliciously. But of course, that's only half the story. Because while these fish help you thrive, there are others that can slowly harm you, silently, steadily, and often without obvious warning signs. Let's now explore the four fish you should never eat after 60, and why some of them are far more common than you think. Let's now move to number 1 on the danger list, farmed Atlantic salmon. This is the fish that fools the most people. It has the word salmon in it, so it must be healthy, right? Unfortunately, not always. While wild-caught salmon is one of the most powerful brain and heart foods you can eat, its farmed counterpart tells a very different story, especially for older adults. Farmed Atlantic salmon is typically raised in densely packed pens, often in polluted waters, and under conditions that require heavy use of antibiotics, pesticides, and synthetic color additives. Why? Because the flesh of farmed salmon is naturally a dull gray, not that vibrant orange-pink you see in the grocery store. So producers dye it with chemicals like xanthan to make it look healthy, even though its nutritional profile is significantly compromised. Worse yet, farmed salmon has a drastically different fat composition compared to its wild relatives. Instead of a rich balance of anti-inflammatory omega-3s, it contains far more omega-6 fatty acids, fats that when consumed in excess, promote inflammation throughout the body. For seniors already managing chronic issues like arthritis, cardiovascular disease, or cognitive decline, that added inflammatory burden can silently accelerate deterioration. A study published in the journal Science found that the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 in farmed salmon is now nearly 5:1, compared to the ideal ratio of 1:1 in wild salmon. That imbalance fans the flames of aging from within. I remember a patient named Harold who'd been proudly eating salmon 3 times a week, believing he was doing everything right. But his arthritis flared more frequently, and his cholesterol remained stubbornly high. When we reviewed his grocery habits, we discovered he was buying discounted Atlantic salmon, farmed overseas. After switching to wild-caught Alaskan salmon, even just twice a week, his pain levels dropped, and his labs improved within 2 months. So if you're buying salmon and the label doesn't explicitly say wild-caught or Alaskan, assume it's farmed. And if it says color added, walk away. Your health deserves better than a chemically colored imitation. Let's move to number 2, swordfish. This one hits hard for seafood lovers who enjoy a hearty steak-like cut of fish. Swordfish is meaty, rich in flavor, and often found on restaurant menus as a gourmet choice. But under the surface, it carries one of the highest mercury concentrations of any commonly consumed fish. Here's the science. Swordfish are large, long-lived predators. They eat other fish, and in doing so, accumulate mercury, a neurotoxic heavy metal that the human body cannot easily eliminate. The older the fish, the more mercury it contains. And when seniors eat swordfish regularly, that mercury builds up silently in their tissues, especially the brain, kidneys, and liver. The danger here is subtle but serious. Mercury poisoning doesn't hit like a food allergy or food poisoning. It creeps in over time, causing symptoms like memory loss, hand tremors, mood swings, insomnia, and even difficulty walking or speaking. These are often mistaken for normal aging or even early-stage dementia. I once worked with a couple in their 70s. The husband, a former athlete, began having unexplained neurological symptoms, slurred speech, forgetfulness, and irritability. After exhaustive testing, we discovered his blood mercury levels were significantly elevated. The source? A weekend ritual of grilled swordfish steaks. Once he stopped eating swordfish and started chelating slowly through dietary changes, his clarity began to return, and his family noticed a distinct improvement in his mood and coordination. The takeaway here is simple. For seniors, even occasional swordfish consumption can be a gamble. There are plenty of better options. So the next time you're dining out and see swordfish on the menu, remember this: it's not worth the risk to your brain. Let's move to number 3, king mackerel, also known as kingfish. Not to be confused with Atlantic or Spanish mackerel, which are generally safe in moderation. King mackerel is a much larger species, and like swordfish, it accumulates mercury at alarmingly high levels. What makes this one especially dangerous is how often it's mislabeled or sold without proper identification. You might think you're buying healthy mackerel, but unless you ask, you could be unknowingly consuming the high mercury variety. King mackerel is particularly concerning for older adults who already struggle with balance, memory, or coordination. Mercury disrupts neurotransmitters, the chemicals your brain uses to communicate. And once disrupted, it can take months, sometimes years, for the nervous system to recover. One of my clients, Dennis, 66, had been buying what he thought was fresh mackerel from a local market every week. It turned out to be mislabeled king mackerel. He came to me with complaints of dizziness, brain fog, and chronic fatigue. We cut out the mystery fish, introduced safe omega-3 sources, and within a few weeks, his symptoms started to ease. So here's the rule. If it just says mackerel, ask which kind. Stick to Atlantic or Spanish mackerel in moderation. Avoid king mackerel entirely. It's simply not worth the neurological risk. Let's move to number 4. Farmed tilapia. This is perhaps the most misleading fish in the grocery store. It's affordable, mild-tasting, and heavily marketed as a heart-healthy option. But in truth, most farmed tilapia is raised in industrial fish farms overseas, where conditions are poorly regulated and feed quality is often questionable at best. Tilapia are frequently fed corn and soy, ingredients that alter their fat profile and drastically increase the levels of omega-6 fatty acids. The result? A fish that can increase inflammation rather than reduce it. A study published in the Journal of the American Dietetic Association revealed that farmed tilapia contains more pro-inflammatory omega-6s than even bacon. Yes, bacon. So if you're choosing tilapia thinking it's a lean, heart-healthy protein, think again, especially if it's coming from farms in China or parts of Southeast Asia. I recall one woman, Joyce, who was eating tilapia 3 nights a week because her cardiologist told her to increase lean protein. But she continued to suffer from joint pain and poor recovery after walking or light exercise. Once we swapped out tilapia for small, oily fish like sardines and herring, her inflammation markers improved, and her mobility followed suit. The lesson is simple. Not all lean proteins are anti-inflammatory. And when it comes to fish, the source, feed, and farming practices matter deeply. Now that we've uncovered the 4 worst offenders, farmed Atlantic salmon, swordfish, king mackerel, and farmed tilapia, let's take the next step. I'm going to walk you through how to choose fish safely at the grocery store, what to look for on labels, and how to spot red flags that many people overlook. Because even the healthiest fish won't help you if it's been dyed, mislabeled, or caught in contaminated waters. Let's now turn to something that seems simple, but is often filled with confusion. How to choose safe, healthy fish at the seafood counter. You might think you're making a good choice when you buy fish that looks fresh, is nicely packaged, or labeled heart-healthy. But the truth is, labels can be misleading, names can be confusing, and marketing often hides the details that matter most, especially for older adults whose health depends on getting the right nutrients without hidden toxins. So here's what I teach my patients. Buying fish isn't just about taste or price. It's about sourcing, species, and safety. And with a few smart habits, you can learn to spot the difference between fish that heals and fish that quietly harms. Let's begin with red flag number 1. Fish labeled simply as Atlantic salmon, without any mention of wild caught. If you see the words Atlantic salmon on a package, and nowhere does it say wild or Alaskan, you can almost guarantee it's farm-raised. And as we discussed earlier, farmed salmon is often treated with antibiotics, artificial dyes, and fed a diet that changes its natural fat balance. Always look for labels that clearly state wild-caught, Alaskan, or sockeye. These are the safest bets for clean, anti-inflammatory salmon. Let's move to red flag number 2. No country of origin. Any fish that doesn't tell you where it came from should make you pause. High-quality, safe fish almost always comes with clear labeling, such as product of USA, caught in Alaska, or wild caught from Canada. If the label is vague or says product of multiple countries, that's a sign the fish may have been processed, frozen, shipped, and repackaged in different locations with little oversight. Stick with fish that proudly tells you its origin, because transparency usually means better quality and higher safety standards. Red flag number 3, color added or previously frozen. Many people don't realize this, but farmed salmon is often dyed with synthetic pigments to give it that bright pink color we associate with health. But that color didn't come from nature, it came from chemicals. If the packaging says color added or previously frozen, think twice. Fresh, wild fish doesn't need artificial help to look appetizing. Instead of falling for misleading appearances, focus on signs of real quality. Look for MSC-certified logos, which indicate sustainable fishing practices and better environmental safety. Prefer short food chain fish like sardines, anchovies, and herring. These are less likely to carry mercury and are usually lower in contaminants. And whenever possible, buy fish from US, Canadian, or EU-regulated sources. These regions have stricter food safety standards that help protect your health. One tip I always give my patients: don't be afraid to ask questions. If you're at a seafood counter and unsure, ask the fishmonger directly. Is this wild-caught or farm-raised? Or, do you know where this fish was sourced from? You're not being difficult. You're protecting your brain, your heart, and your future. A few seconds of inquiry can spare you months of health issues down the line. I once had a patient named Beverly who thought she was doing everything right. She always bought what looked fresh, never touched fried fish, and stuck to grilled seafood twice a week. But when we sat down and went through her fish choices one by one, she realized she'd been eating farmed tilapia from overseas and mislabeled salmon every week for the past year. Once she began asking more questions at the counter and switching to verified wild options, her digestion improved, her joint pain lessened, and she told me something else. She felt more in control of her own health. And that's what this is really about. Empowerment. Because once you understand the difference between farmed and wild, between high mercury predators and clean small fish, between marketing language and real nutrition, you don't just buy fish anymore. You make an investment in your longevity. You protect your memory, your movement, your energy, and your independence. So next time you stand at the seafood case, take a breath and look closely. What does the label say? Where did this fish come from? Was it raised with care or manufactured for profit? The answers are right there if you know how to read between the lines. And even when you do all of that, there's one more piece of the puzzle. Many older adults still fall into common traps when choosing seafood, habits driven by cost, convenience, or decades of routine. Let's now talk about the common mistakes I see seniors make when choosing fish. Mistakes that are almost always made with good intentions, but still carry real consequences. The first mistake is assuming that all salmon is equally healthy. This one comes up more often than you might expect. People hear salmon is good for the heart and take it at face value, never realizing that the source of that salmon makes all the difference. Farmed Atlantic salmon, as we've covered, often contains more omega-6 fats than omega-3s, is raised with antibiotics, and may even contain chemical dyes. Yet it's still labeled salmon, giving the illusion of health. If it doesn't say wild-caught, don't buy it. Look for Alaskan sockeye, coho, or anything labeled MSC certified or sustainably wild-caught. It's not about being picky, it's about protecting your arteries, your brain, and your long-term mobility. The second mistake is choosing fish based solely on price. I understand that cost matters. Many seniors are on fixed incomes, and groceries aren't getting cheaper. But here's the trap. Low-cost fish is often imported from countries with lax regulations. That means higher chances of contamination, lower nutritional value, and more inflammatory fats. Farmed tilapia, for example, is usually inexpensive and available everywhere. But it's often raised in poor conditions, fed low-quality feed, and offers little omega-3 benefit. Instead, you're better off buying canned sardines or mackerel in olive oil. They're budget-friendly, shelf-stable, and nutrient-dense, offering real brain and bone support without breaking the bank. The third mistake is not reading the label or feeling too shy to ask. Many people don't realize they can speak up at the seafood counter. But let me be clear, you have every right to know where your food comes from. You're not causing trouble by asking, is this wild or farmed? Or, where was this fish sourced? You're taking responsibility for your health. And the more people ask, the more pressure stores feel to improve their transparency. You wouldn't take a mystery pill from an unlabeled bottle. So why accept mystery fish on your plate? The fourth mistake is eating the same fish over and over again. Variety isn't just for flavor, it's essential for reducing risk. When you eat the same species repeatedly, you increase the chances of accumulating specific toxins that might be present in that fish. For instance, even wild salmon, while incredibly healthy, shouldn't be your only source of seafood. Rotate through the best options. Wild salmon one week, sardines another, herring the next, maybe trout the week after. This approach reduces your exposure to any one potential contaminant and ensures you're getting a broader spectrum of nutrients. One of my patients, Greg, had a habit of eating tuna salad every day for lunch. He thought it was clean, lean protein. But after 6 months, he started experiencing tremors and brain fog. We tested his mercury levels, and they were high. We replaced the tuna with sardines and small amounts of canned salmon, and within 2 months, his energy returned, and the tremors stopped. Finally, one bonus tip that's helped me of my senior patients. Create a simple mental checklist when shopping. Ask yourself, is this fish wild-caught? Is it low in mercury? Does it have a clearly labeled origin? Is it naturally high in omega-3s? Is it a short-lived species like sardines or herring? If you can say yes to most of these questions, you're making an excellent choice for your health. If not, it's worth pausing before putting that fillet in your cart. And if fish simply isn't your thing, whether due to taste, texture, or dietary restrictions, don't worry, you're not out of options. Let's move to the next important topic. What if you don't eat fish? Not everyone enjoys the taste or texture of fish. Some seniors have allergies, others follow vegetarian or plant-based diets, and for many, digestive sensitivities or cultural reasons keep seafood off the plate. But that doesn't mean you have to miss out on the powerful nutrients that fish provides, especially omega-3 fatty acids, which are essential for memory, inflammation control, heart rhythm, and joint comfort. Fortunately, nature has given us other options, plant-based, accessible, and remarkably effective alternatives. Let's begin with flax seeds. These tiny brown or golden seeds are among the richest sources of alpha-linolenic acid, or ALA, a plant-based omega-3 fat. While ALA isn't exactly the same as EPA and DHA found in fish, the human body can convert a small portion of it into these longer-chain fatty acids. More importantly, ALA itself still offers potent anti-inflammatory benefits, and flax also brings something fish doesn't, soluble fiber and lignans. Lignans are natural compounds that support hormone balance and may even offer protection against certain cancers. Meanwhile, the fiber in flax supports digestion, heart health, and steady blood sugar, crucial for aging bodies. To unlock flax seeds' benefits, you must grind it fresh. Whole flax seeds often pass through your system undigested. Add a tablespoon of freshly ground flax to your morning oats, smoothie, or even into a dollop of yogurt for a gentle, nourishing start to the day. Let's move to chia seeds. These remarkable seeds have a unique property. When soaked in liquid, they form a gel-like coating that helps hydrate the digestive tract and promote smooth bowel function. But beyond digestion, chia seeds are packed with ALA, just like flax. They're also rich in calcium, magnesium, and antioxidants, which help protect against oxidative stress and support bone and nerve health. I often recommend chia pudding, made with almond or oat milk, as a light evening snack. It's soothing, easy to digest, and ideal for anyone who wants to support brain and heart health while avoiding heavy late-night meals. Let's move to walnuts. Walnuts are one of the only nuts that contain significant amounts of plant-based omega-3s. Just a handful a day provides ALA, vitamin E, and polyphenols that support vascular health and cognitive function. They also contain melatonin precursors, which may aid in sleep quality, something that becomes increasingly important with age. Snack on them plain, toss them into salads, or mix into oatmeal. Their anti-inflammatory profile makes them a perfect addition to any senior-friendly diet. Let's move to algae oil supplements. This one might surprise you. Most people think omega-3s only come from fish, but here's the truth. Fish get their omega-3s from eating algae. That means you can skip the middleman and go straight to the source. Algae-derived DHA and EPA supplements are 100% plant-based, free from mercury, and highly bioavailable. For seniors who don't eat seafood, algae oil capsules are the closest nutritional equivalent to fish oil. They deliver the long-chain omega-3s your brain and heart need without the taste, smell, or environmental concerns of fish. These supplements are especially helpful for those at risk of cognitive decline, elevated triglycerides, or systemic inflammation. I once worked with a woman named Teresa, 69, who had an aversion to all seafood. For years, she struggled with low mood, joint stiffness, and mild memory issues. When we introduced a combination of chia seeds in her breakfast and a daily algae oil capsule, she experienced steady improvements, lighter joints, better focus, and even fewer mood swings. And she never had to eat a single piece of fish. The lesson is this: fish is a powerful ally, but it's not your only one. You can nourish your body, protect your brain, and ease inflammation with plant-based choices if you know where to look and how to use them. Now that you know the best and worst fish and their plant-based replacements, let's put it all together. In the next section, I'll walk you through a simple, easy-to-follow 3-day meal plan. Designed specifically for seniors, it supports your brain, bones, heart, and digestion, all without complicated recipes or restrictive rules. Let's move to the next stage of this journey. A 3-day brain-boosting, heart-protective meal plan designed specifically for seniors. Whether you love seafood or prefer plant-based alternatives, this plan was created with one thing in mind: helping you eat in a way that supports your memory, reduces inflammation, and keeps your bones and joints strong. Each meal is gentle on the digestive system, packed with essential nutrients, and easy to prepare without complicated steps or hard-to-find ingredients. Let's begin with day 1. Start your morning with what I call the Omega Kickstart. This is a warm bowl of old-fashioned oats topped with ground flax seeds, a few sliced bananas, and a sprinkle of crushed walnuts. The oats offer beta-glucan fiber to support heart health and digestion, while the flax and walnuts bring plant-based omega-3s that help reduce inflammation and support the brain. Pair it with a cup of green tea or warm lemon water to stimulate gentle morning detoxification. For lunch, enjoy grilled wild-caught salmon served over a bed of baby spinach and quinoa. Add a drizzle of olive oil and a squeeze of lemon for added antioxidant value. This meal delivers clean protein, EPA and DHA for brain health, and a host of minerals that nourish your muscles and bones. It's light, energizing, and perfect for maintaining stable blood sugar through the afternoon. Dinner is simple but deeply nourishing. A small fillet of steamed rainbow trout, seasoned with garlic and herbs, served alongside roasted sweet potatoes and lightly sautéed broccoli. Rainbow trout is soft and easy to digest, great for seniors with dental issues or sluggish digestion. Sweet potatoes offer beta-carotene and potassium, while broccoli adds fiber and compounds that support liver function. And don't forget your snack. A small serving of chia pudding made with almond milk, cinnamon, and vanilla is not only delicious, it's full of omega-3s, calcium, and gut-soothing prebiotic fiber. It also promotes better sleep when enjoyed in the evening. Let's move to day 2. For breakfast, try whole grain toast topped with mashed avocado, chia seeds, and a soft-boiled egg. This meal delivers healthy fats, protein, fiber, and minerals, all in a heart-healthy, brain-friendly combination. If you prefer a sweeter option, switch to steel-cut oats with ground flax and cinnamon. Lunch is where we bring in a powerful option often overlooked: sardines. Prepare a sardine salad using wild-caught sardines canned in olive oil. Mash them with lemon juice, chopped herbs, and a bit of Dijon mustard. Serve over rye crackers or atop a bed of greens. Sardines are rich in calcium, vitamin B12, and omega-3s, an unbeatable trio for aging brains and bones. Dinner is baked herring with roasted carrots and brown rice. Herring is one of the most underrated brain-supporting foods. It's easy to prepare, gentle on digestion, and wonderfully flavorful. Roasted carrots provide natural sweetness and beta-carotene, while brown rice adds fiber and B vitamins. Your snack tonight can be a bowl of unsweetened Greek yogurt topped with a small handful of chopped walnuts and a few fresh blueberries. If you're dairy-free, swap the yogurt for a coconut milk alternative and sprinkle in some cinnamon for warmth and blood sugar balance. Let's move to day 3. Begin with a smoothie rich in anti-inflammatory and brain-boosting ingredients. Use a base of spinach and unsweetened almond milk, add half a banana, a tablespoon of flaxseed, and a small handful of frozen berries. If desired, you can add a scoop of plant-based protein powder. This is a great option for seniors with lower appetite or those needing a quick meal. Lunch today is a simple wrap: grilled trout or canned wild salmon mixed with a little Greek yogurt, lemon, and chopped celery, wrapped in a whole wheat or lettuce wrap with sliced cucumbers. This delivers protein, omega-3s, and hydration in a light, portable form. Dinner is wild salmon cakes made with mashed sweet potatoes, herbs, and oats. Serve them with a side salad dressed in olive oil and vinegar. These cakes are satisfying but easy to chew and digest, ideal for seniors with dental concerns or reduced appetite. And for your final snack, try a small handful of dried figs and a few almonds. Figs offer fiber and potassium, while almonds provide magnesium and plant-based protein. It's a sweet, nourishing way to end the day. Each meal in this 3-day plan was designed with care to support memory, fight inflammation, and keep your body strong without overwhelming your system. They're simple enough for anyone to prepare and flexible enough to adjust based on personal tastes. And if you don't eat fish at all, remember, each of these meals can be adapted. Use plant-based omega-3 sources like flax, chia, walnuts, and algae oil supplements. You can still protect your heart and nourish your brain, one thoughtful bite at a time. Now that we've explored what to eat and what to avoid, let's bring everything together. In the next and final section, I'll share a few empowering reminders, how small changes lead to big results, and why every food choice you make after 60 is a chance to protect your future. Your health after 60 depends on smarter choices, especially when it comes to fish. By avoiding high-mercury, inflammatory seafood like farmed salmon, swordfish, king mackerel, and tilapia, and choosing brain-boosting options like wild-caught salmon, sardines, herring, and trout, you protect your memory, heart, and joints naturally. Even if you don't eat fish, plant-based alternatives like flax, chia, and algae oil offer powerful support. Start today, one meal, one swap at a time. If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe for weekly doctor-led advice on senior health and nutrition.